Hi everyone, nice to see you again. Recently, many things have changed in my life and I have been temporarily unable to make videos. I'm still in China, I'm still working as an English teacher, but I have moved to a different city and I have found a new teaching job. If you have seen my previous videos, you would know I came to China in February this year after getting an invitation letter to enter the country and work. Up until a month ago, I was working at a training center in the city of Zhengzhou, Henan province. My contract with this training center was for 1 year, but I was only there for 6 months before I left. Now, why did I leave? It has a lot to do with the current situation regarding education in China and also my dissatisfaction with training centers. I have seen many comments asking about this topic and I want to answer them all now. Firstly, most foreigners come to China and work as English teachers. Basic requirements being a bachelor degree, TEFL or TESOL certificate, and being a citizen of a native English speaking country. There are different kinds of English teaching jobs here, but the main ones are public schools, private schools, kindergartens, international schools, universities, and training centers. Private schools, international schools, kindergartens, and training centers offer the best salaries. All these are self-explanatory apart from training centers. So a training center is a privately run business that seeks to make a profit. They operate on weekends and after school hours. There's a training center for all kinds of subjects, but the most popular is English. So naturally, these can be found everywhere in China these days, and not only because China being such a populated country, but also because there's fierce competition with many things, but especially education. Children study super hard for a university entrance exam called the Gaokao, and parents will spend a large amount of their savings on their child, so they will have the best chance of getting a high score on this exam. Then a high score will lead to a good university leads to a good job, and a good job means they can take care of their parents once they reach an old age. English is one of the parts on this exam, on this Gaokao exam, so every Chinese will find learning English important. The main English part of this exam is reading comprehension and writing with a simple, short speaking test. Hence why many Chinese can read and write well, but barely speak English. Anyway, back to training centers. So these pop up everywhere. And if they have native English speaking teachers, then they can attract more students and make more money. Hence, they are very competitive and spend a lot of money on advertising in order to sign up new students. Though this has been going on for quite some time, and over the past 10 years or so has become part of a rising problem in China. This being a demographic problem, with the birth rate falling, that is mostly due to the economic pressure and less people having more than one child. And even though the government lifted the one-child policy, many still do not want to have another child. They feel they can't afford to put this second child through all the educational needs. Since Chinese people spend immense amounts of money on just one child's education, some just have no choice and can't afford to have another child. Training centers charge high fees, and this means only those well-off families have any chance to afford to put their kids in a training center, which leads me to the other issue in China, being the gap between the rich and the poor is getting wider, with those disadvantaged not being able to give their child private education and tutoring. The Chinese government basically wants to make access to education fair and not only to those who have the money. So one way that the government has sought to fight this problem is to make reforms on the country's education policy. They introduced reforms on private education like training centers and tutoring. This policy meant that training centers could not teach core school subjects. English being a core school subject, this policy has had a massive impact on the industry, and the future of training centers is now really uncertain. Many of them are closed down already, and the larger ones like EF and First Leap will find a way to change their curriculum and circumnavigate this policy. For example, teaching English through drama or some other means. Either way, more policies are likely to follow, and the future of training centers is not looking good. The government wants to ease the pressure on young families by making education fairer and more affordable in the hope that families have more children. So this was one of the reasons that I left my job at the training center. The other reason is my massive dissatisfaction with training centers. Firstly, they offer very bad contracts and little incentive to stay and grow within the company. They only gave me 5 days of annual leave. Their management mishandles documents, make countless mistakes. They hold pointless meetings. They give ridiculous and pointless feedback regarding the teaching. Their curriculum is outdated and full of mistakes. They force work back days after national holidays, and they also force me to take unpaid leave during the Zhengzhou floods. I was teaching 40 lessons a week and working every day in order to earn 30K per month. But with my new job, I can work 5 days a week, get 3 months of paid annual leave, and teach a good curriculum written by a recognized institution in the UK and not some garbage made by a team of Chinese people in Beijing. That's not to be offensive to Chinese people, but an English curriculum should be written by native English speakers, and a Chinese curriculum should be written by native Chinese speakers. It makes sense, right? The worst part of it is that the parents who are paying massive amounts of money to have their kids at these training centers have no idea we're teaching them an outdated and garbage curriculum. Training centers are purely focused on making money and will cut corners wherever they can. Most foreigners I've spoken to here in China have expressed a similar sort of dissatisfaction with training centers and the way they operate. So I changed jobs, and it was not easy because the training center was not happy that I was leaving. So they canceled my work permit and my residence permit and put me on a temporary visa, which is okay, but they could have cooperated with my new school with transferring the permits, and that would have made the process much easier. But of course, they're not going to cooperate when I am leaving. They rather just throw me under the bus. Anyway, all I had to do was find an employer that could apply for these again while I was on a temporary visa. Some schools won't be able to do this. Luckily, I found a private school in Changzhou that could process my documents. So it all worked out, and this school is amazing. I really love this. I really love working here. The benefits are amazing. The teachers and staff treat me exceptionally well. Their curriculum is outstanding. The school is among one of the best in the city. Changzhou is also not as packed as Zhengzhou, and the streets are very clean. The air quality here is much better. People are more courteous and civilized. I don't want to say that Zhengzhou is a terrible place, because I did like some parts about it, but one big reason I wanted to leave was the uncivilized nature of the people, like spitting on the ground, urinating literally anywhere, or pushing in the elevators. So I think if you're in China or you're going to come here, you should definitely avoid training centers and always keep a lookout for a better contract. Try to find a good school and stay there. The process of changing jobs is anxiety-inducing and stressful. If you're unsure about contracts, make sure you get help from someone who is on your side. It is difficult being a foreigner in a country like China. There are times where you feel extremely powerless without communication skills and understanding of the systems. So anyway, I hope this video wasn't too negative. I honestly love China and Chinese people. This country is developing so fast, and it is really cool to be part of it. If you have any questions, comment below, and see you in the next video. Bye.